welcome everybody to On and Off the Field with Dirt Fan Dylan. What's going on, Dylan?
What's up, everybody? It's technically Friday. You're going to be listening to this on Friday on the RTS Sports Network. It's crazy because everything's changing, but it's an exciting change.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. If you're listening to us on the RTS Sports Network tomorrow, you are in prime time listening. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little early for some lunch breaks, but if you're heading for an early lunch break, you get into your car, you're like, do I want to listen to the radio? Do I want to listen to my favorite podcast? Well, now you can listen on and off the field live from RTF Sports Network during your lunch break on Friday from 11 to 12. It's perfect.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I mean, you can just listen to it, whenever you want on any podcasting platform, and you can also watch it on our YouTube channel. All links available on onandoffthefield.com, so you don't really have to work that hard. You don't have to go searching around the interwebs trying to find On and Off the Field. onandoffthefield.com. It's all there. Easy peasy.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And if you want to see all of our up-to-date daily stuff that we post and everything going on with the show kind of on social media, go ahead and check out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Amazingly good content there on
Yeah.
all of them.
Real good content. And if you like our content, then check out our TF Network, Sport Networks content.
Because we might be the best show on the RTS Sports Network, but there's also a lot of shows that are, right behind us. But yeah, a lot of great shows on there. You can check them out pretty much 24/7. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can look at all the different shows that are available on the RTS Sports Network Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages. You can see the lineups. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I keep saying it. You don't want to jump on the RTF bandwagon too late. You want to get on now, because when we are equals with ESPN, and once we overtake ESPN, you're going to want to be in it now on the ground level. You don't want to jump on later. It's too late at that point. We want you now.
Yeah, be a true fan, not a
bandwagon. That's the goal. It might take a couple of years. I might be dead by the time the network gets that far, but hopefully the next podcast up behind us gets there. We'll pray for him. But obviously this plays on the RTS Sports Network from Friday from 11 to 12. But our live show, for those who do not remember or forgot, because it's very new, this past Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time was our live show. We go live on our On Off the Field Facebook page, RTS Facebook page, On Off the Field's YouTube page, and then it's uploaded after that. So we love our live show. We love all the interaction we get, all the comments and everything. So we hope that you join us for all of our future live shows. We want hundreds of people watching because that just makes it more fun.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love those comments.
So, are you drinking anything today? You got anything cold brews over there?
Surprisingly, no. I've just been in the office kind of working on stuff and just water here.
Just water? I got water and flat beer, so I don't. Got it straight out the growler.
There you go. I know I have
flat Twisted Monkey.
Oh, that
Victory. Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh, is that from the other day?
That is from the other day. Apparently, I've opened it one too many times, and now it's just flat as could be. It's like drinking juice now. It's not great. It's only a little bit left though. Trying to finish it off. Well, if we don't have, I think we got everything in our warm up there. We talked a little bit about beer and water. I think we're ready to head into our first segment of the night.
Yeah.
The Other Sports.
Oh.
And it was kind of a slow week, honestly. It really wasn't that big of a week for news, at least in other sports. It feels like the other sports are kind of, most of them are back, or at least have a schedule to come back. So
Mm-hmm.
they're just waiting to come back at this point. They're
Right.
not the only ones that don't really have a plan in place is baseball and college football. But at least college football's kind of got some sort of a plan, whether it'll work or not.
Yeah.
We'll wait to see. But so far, the NCAA released a 6-week calendar to get the season started on time. So the dates basically work down to June 1st through the 25th, which it's June 18th. I don't know why this is the first time I'm seeing this. That's voluntary workouts, and then July 13th onward is team workouts, weight training, conditioning, whatever. July 24th onward is walkthroughs and team meetings, and then August 7th onward is live practice. It's an interesting schedule. The dates are weird to me. I don't know. It's July 13th onward. I don't know why they just don't say July 13th to July 23rd. It's a very weird kind of graph they got going on here.
Well, I think the term using the term onward is like it's ongoing, but then you add more to it. So like they probably could have just said like July 13th through the start of the season, but it's
I guess that makes sense.
yeah, it's kind of like the piling on top of each other. Like we're adding more complexity to the practices.
That makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, because you don't stop weight training on July 23rd.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay, I'm with you now. Thanks for catching me up.
There you go.
I'm on board now with college football, but that's their calendar for at least off season stuff, I
Mhm.
guess you could say. But that's fine. I'm all fine with that. They say they're going to start on time, but my question is when they this is the one thing haven't really heard a lot about. It's a lot of speculation. It's a
Mhm.
lot of because every league has their own commissioner, like SEC, Big Ten, whatever, all these different regions, whatever you want to call them. I'm more interested in what is the schedules for the team going to look like? Because you're not going to have, I don't know what the furthest a team travels to play a game, but you're not going to be having someone from Florida traveling like all the way north to play like Ohio State or something like that.
Right.
At least you would like to think they're not. They're probably going to do it for the NFL, but these are kids. It's a little different.
Mhm.
Are they going to change the schedules so they're only playing games close, like conference games, stuff that's schools that are close enough, somewhere you can get on a bus, so you don't have to fly, you don't have to, risk health going to airports or stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I would hope they do that. I know there's been a lot of talk about it, but there's nothing been like officially said from like the NCAA. There's been a lot of like voiced concern through the conferences. Um, I know like the SEC, that's a giant conference. Like that covers a lot of miles. The ACC is kind of intermingled there. Like, do you instead say this school has a certain radius around it? They're playing all of these schools within Division One, and that's your schedule. Because if you think about it, like in the Big Ten, Penn State travels from the middle of Pennsylvania all the way to Minnesota to play the Go.
Right.
So that do they really want that much travel? I mean, granted, they probably don't play Minnesota this year. They played them last year, but that's still a lot of travel, even within technically conference. Like, do you play like those state rival games now? Do you play the other lower end conferences that are around your school, but they're still technically Division One? Do you risk loss of competition? Maybe, but you're now limiting the amount of travel that these players have to take on, which could at the end, if it does affect them health wise, then now you're affecting their school, their learning, because technically they are a student athlete. A lot of people have their opinions about that. I'll just stop there. But I think that's an approach that the NCAA should look at with all these conferences is doing the radius situation.
Yeah, that's definitely a consideration. I don't know if they would drop down to. They definitely wouldn't drop down to other divisions. It'd be interesting if they
Right.
play teams that they never played before, just
Hmm.
because they're regional. And I guess that brings up an interesting point just with colleges themselves, whether they're going to open colleges back up. If they're just going to keep it online learning, then they might have less of an issue to have to worry about infecting campuses. That would probably play into it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about all colleges, but I just from being at Penn State, being and hearing like following them on social media, I do know that they are going back to in-person classes in August, but then come Thanksgiving break, they're actually everyone goes home, and then the remainder of the semester is online, and you take your exams online. Um, that way because you normally have a week off for Thanksgiving and you come back for 2 or 3 weeks to do exams and then you go back home again. That eliminates all the extra travel.
That makes sense. I mean, it. There's no purpose in going back if it's just for tests. I guess it makes sense. So you're limiting because that's the medical professionals like Fauci and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Wave 2 is supposed to be a November timeframe, so that'd be a good, it might work out like that in case there is a situation where there's a wave 2.
Mm-hmm.
But that is interesting, and if it is online and they're still playing football, some of these kids live in different places. I mean, some of them are just traveling across the country to go to school. If you go home for online learning, how are you going to travel all the way back to Penn State and just go to a football game every week when you live in freaking Nevada or something? That
Right. And I think that has to do, well, you do get some of those long distance recruits. It depends how the school recruits. I would assume with the scholarship, there's got to be, they can't just let them tell them, hey, go home for a couple of days and fly back for a game. I would assume there'd be some type of special housing for student athletes that need to be on campus or need to be with it or have team activities that they need to participate in. So I feel like there's going to be that kind of an exception rule, or they have a process that they need to work out when sports become more active in the college setting.
it's a lot of stuff to think about for these colleges,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a good solution right there for that. So they don't have to be traveling all across the country just to get back to play their football game or whatever sport they might be doing. It's a good solution. Did you just think of that, or is that something that someone else proposed? Because that was solid.
That was literally off the top of my head.
I'm telling you, this kid's smart. That's why he's on the show. He brought me on board with the college football calendar here. This is the brains of the operation. I'm not smart enough to figure these things out on my own. I appreciate your insight. Every week I appreciate your insight. Well, right before we get to our next segment, this is just going to be a quick little break point for the radio station so commercials can play here. So just give us a quick 5 seconds of silence, and we'll be right back with On Out of the Field with Durf and Dylan. And we are back. We move on to NFL news because that's all we have for other sports. So the NFL is chock full of stuff. We're going to try and get through some of it relatively quickly so we can get to our main segment.
Yeah,
Very fun main segment. Worked very hard on this main segment. took me like a little bit over an hour, I think, to get all my stuff in there. But
yeah.
first, we're going to start with. I thought this was interesting. There was a picture out there. If you saw the picture circulating, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that was a real design. Like
Yeah.
someone got it from somewhere. The
Mm-hmm.
rumor has been that the NFL was trying to develop a COVID-19 proof helmet and face mask for NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching Dan Patrick and a couple other shows. I think he was also on what's that one? Gullick and Wingo in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think his last name is Sills, Dr. Sills. He's basically the medical leader of the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that yes, that is true. They are working on NFL COVID-19 face masks.
Yeah. I don't see why not. I mean,
I mean, I don't know. And it's funny because he said when he first heard of the idea of a
Mhm.
face mask that covers your mouth and everything, he thought it was a stupid idea. And then he saw some of the prototypes. And he said, "Yeah, this might work." So his tune changed. So
Mhm.
maybe we laugh, but we haven't seen the designs. So
Right.
maybe it works out. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, we've only seen like a leaked potential prototype. So, I mean, are we just going to turn it into Halo now? Like they're going to have like be Halo style helmets? Because
Oh, can we do that?
that'd be kind of fun.
I'm all for it. Can we suggest it? Just do Halo helmets with but spray paint them with their
Uh,
colors and their logos like on the piece right here near his mouth. Oh, that's such
mhm.
a good idea. Let's really sell for that. And like do Darth Vader helmets. We could do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Well, the Raiders should do the Raiders get
Darth
dibs on
Vader.
the Darth Vader helmets, yeah, for
Yeah.
their new stadium.
Yeah.
But we'll see what comes from that. Basically, the news just is that it was confirmed that they're trying to develop a mask. Whether they're actually going to succeed and use them
Mhm.
is still to be seen. In player news, Josh Gordon has officially put in his reinstatement into the NFL due to the fact that they have virtually almost no rules against marijuana, except you might have to pay some money and take some
Mhm.
classes, but you're not going to be suspended anymore. So Josh
Okay.
Gordon has a very good case for getting back into the NFL.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, does he automatically go back to the Seahawks when he's reinstated, or is he a free agent?
He does not. His deal was up. I was mistaken about that a couple weeks back when
Hmm.
they first came out with this marijuana rule. I was like, oh, cool. Josh Gordon comes back to the Seahawks. Like, oh no, he only did a 1 year deal, so we
Uh,
don't still have him on the roster. But this entire offseason, he has been working out in Seattle. He still lives in Seattle. So
well, if Pete Carroll's listening, we're telling you to sign him when he gets reinstated. So, chop chop, Pete Carroll.
Pete, come on. Make sure you have as soon as that gets the stamp of approval on that reinstatement, you better have his number on speed dial there, Pete. I'll tell you what, he didn't catch a lot of balls while he had his short stint in Seattle, but man, did he catch important ones.
Yeah.
Like every single time, it was like a third down, especially in that game against the 49ers, the one that they won in overtime. There
Hmm.
were several plays. It's like 3rd and 5. We need this conversion. It's like the 4th quarter. We need to score on this drive. We got to keep it alive. Twice, Josh Gordon was there to catch that ball. And then the week before he got suspended, I forgot who we were playing,
Hmm.
but he's just sprinting down the field and he lays out for like this beautiful catch of a deep ball from Russell Wilson. Josh, Pete, please. I don't ask for a lot. Just sign Josh Gordon back to Seattle because can you Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Philip Dorsett, and Josh Gordon?
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
It's there.
That's a Super Bowl offense, man. We got Carlos Hyde, Chris Carson.
Hmm.
Let's go. But for our friends across the pond, well, I guess that would be like Japan. That isn't really, I guess that's not the right word to use.
Well.
Just a little bit down south. The 49ers got very bad news. It's not terrible news, but it's not great news.
Mhm.
Debo Samuel will be having surgery on his foot. He broke a bone in his foot, and they said it's about 12 to 16 weeks
Mhm.
recovery time. So if you do the math, he might miss, 1, 2 games to start the season at worst.
Yeah.
Doing the math, I can see it, Winston.
Yeah, doing the math in my head. I'm thinking it's like I think he'd be aiming for a week 3, week 4. I think is probably
Yeah, it sounds about right.
where he'd be potentially coming back. But I feel like that's I'm not sure if that is the kind of fracture they're talking about that's common among receivers that have issues afterwards, but definitely Debo, get healthy, do it the right way, don't rush back, don't be stupid about it, like don't let it nag you,
Yeah.
fix it and be done.
Yeah, let the running backs carry the weight early in the season. Stay out a couple weeks extra if you have to, because you put it down here, the Jones fracture.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to do research on how that impacts players. This is kind of fresh today.
Yeah.
Later in the day, this news came out, so I didn't really research it yet. But that would be interesting to see how players come back from that injury, because that is a big. It's a foot injury for a wide receiver who has to make cuts, and it's on the outside
Yeah.
of his foot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a great spot to have an injury.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and I just had to shove this in everybody's faces because I was right. I love being right. I said by far the worst thing the 49ers could do this offseason is let Emmanuel Sanders walk. Worst thing they could possibly do, unless like Jimmy Garoppolo died, they shipped him off somewhere else. Like, anything. The worst real thing they could have done was get rid of Emmanuel Sanders. They got rid of Emmanuel Sanders. And guess what? Ha ha. I told you not to do it. You went and did it, and look what you get. Boom. I was on your side, San Fran. I told you not to do it. I was trying to help you. As a Hawks fan, I was trying to help you. You didn't listen to me.
Oh,
Disappointed. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get into another late breaking news one was Jamal Adams is very, very mad at the Jets.
yeah.
He posted a long Instagram post just about how like they betrayed him. He was mad, very interesting post. But he said he is now seeking a trade away from the Jets, and he actually listed a couple teams he would be interested to go to: the Ravens, the Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers, and the Seahawks. I'll tell you right now, the Seahawks do not have the cap space for Jamal Adams anywhere on their cap space wall. No chance he goes there. Who do you think he'll go to? Do you have a favorite team of him where do you think he ends up?
I don't think it's the Eagles. I don't think it's the Ravens. I don't want it to be the Cowboys. I'm just looking
The
at this.
Cowboys have been the favorites from what I've heard, but that's just me. Because the Cowboys would be looking to ship Michael Gallup possibly after they've kind of revamped their wide receiving core, and the Jets.
Yeah, with CD.
I can't name a single wide receiver on their roster. So that could be a very appealing trade.
I knew one who used to be there, but he's not there anymore.
Yeah, Robbie's gone.
Well, that's not if that's the kind of the top front runner for the Cowboys to trade Gallup for Adams, then it's not a bad trade for the Cowboys. So
yeah, Gallup's a really great player, but if they could get that defensive star player, that'd be scary to me. I would be scared because they already have a great front seven.
mm-hmm.
Their secondary has been questionable with Jamal Adams back there.
Oh yeah,
that would help a lot. That would certainly help. I would take the Cowboys. I don't know what the cap space is in Philadelphia, but they basically had to move one of their corners to safety after Malcolm Jenkins left. I am sure they are interested in rebuilding at that position, at the safety position. Jamal Adams would be very good for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what their situation is for trades, cap space, all that good jazz. But hey,
Right.
He's on the list. Jamal Adams said he would, so who knows? All right, we're just going to take one more quick break. YouTube will just stare at us awkwardly like last time. Quick 5-second break here of silence for our radio break on the network. And we'll be right back with our main segment. And we are back. And I did say main segment. We got one more quick bit of news. The first team that has really come out and said anything about Colin Kaepernick was the Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn. said the Chargers would be crazy not to bring in Colin Kaepernick for a summer workout.
Yeah,
It's the first team to really say anything. It
yeah. I mean,
seems like an interesting fit. I
mhm.
don't know if it's a great fit, but
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of that conservative but yet mobile quarterback situation that they're kind of already in. I mean, I don't know how athletic Colin Kaepernick is still. Like, I'm sure he's still pretty athletic, but when it comes to the football field, like knowing plays or knowing when to option or being able to scramble out of a mess on a down, who knows? But that's, I feel like Colin Kaepernick's similar to, not fully similar, but slightly similar to what Tyrod Taylor is. Like, kind of on that conservative side, doesn't take too much risk down the field anymore. So, I mean, it's kind of like they already have a Colin Kaepernick type quarterback there, or maybe they say they'd be crazy not to bring on another Tyrod Taylor type quarterback. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's the first team to kind of announce it. I think it'd be super interesting if the Chargers did try him out and end up signing him, because did you hear who's on Hard Knocks this year?
yeah, that would be interesting. The old LA style Hard Knocks. Both the Chargers
Yep.
and the Rams will be featured on Hard Knocks in LA.
Yeah, that'd be quite the storyline.
Yeah, that would give them plenty of stuff to talk about on Hard Knocks. This would go against,
Mm-hmm.
because you said, it would make a good storyline. I think that's the issue. That would go against what I said, at least on Tuesday. Colin Kaepernick belongs where he can't be in the headlines, or at least he might be
Right.
forgotten about. Like the Chiefs, they have Patrick Mahomes. Colin Kaepernick's not going to even have a chance to start. In the Chargers, he has a chance to start if he's still athletic, if he still can read defenses, he can still, run an offense. That would be a topic of conversation. It would draw a lot of attention away from the actual play of the Chargers. With the Ravens are a good fit for his play style, and it's also a Harbaugh. He was played for Jim Harbaugh. Now you go to John Harbaugh. You
Yeah.
you feel like that would work well because Lamar Jackson's a solidified starter. You don't have to worry about Colin Kaepernick.
Right. Yeah.
The other team I heard was the Eagles. You go to the Eagles, okay. Well, they just got done drafting Jalen Hurts. If Carson Wentz gets injured again, guess what? There's your storyline. You want to go where you're not going to have to worry about him drawing attention away from your team.
The one question I don't think a lot of people have asked, does he even want to come back? Like,
Right.
we haven't
Yeah, no
heard
one
anything from
says
his
that.
we haven't heard anything from his side saying, okay, now that the NFL has declared that they were wrong 4 years ago, I want to come back and play in the NFL. We just speculate automatically that he's going to get signed now, or, oh, these are potential places that you can go. But that's because it's the media and they're just biting at anything right now because there's no sports.
Yeah, and I don't know if Colin Kaepernick's just sitting back and just laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just enjoying it. People are talking about him again. I don't know if he's just sitting there that, ah, look at me, I'm the headline now. Everybody wants me. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but you're right. He hasn't said a single thing. Yes, I want to play. Yes, I want to be a starter. Yes, I would be okay being a backup. Or no, I don't want to play at all. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. Screw the NFL. Maybe you just no. You guys screwed me. You want me back? No, get out. Get out of here. I don't want you. I don't know what his motives are at this point. Nobody does, and he's
Right.
just staying quiet. Yeah, Colin Kaepernick's an enigma. He'll be talked about. He'll be talked about until he says something, and maybe he just doesn't want to. That's my guess at this point. He is just soaking it in, maybe.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Well, as we wrap up NFL news, we're going to jump into our main segment, which I believe we won't have enough time to do all 32 teams because usually we have this high expectation to do everything we want and then we never can. So we're most likely just going to talk about, here it is, our person that we're keeping an eye on, or kind of like our sleeper surprise person that needs to do good this year. We didn't know what to call this segment. The person that we're keeping an eye on for every team. This isn't going to be the guy like when we get to the Ravens, we're not going to be like, oh, Lamar Jackson, like he's going to be the best guy on the team. We picked people that who's going to be the guy that needs to step up? Who is the guy that you're keeping an eye on? We didn't know what to call the segment, but basically that's kind of our line of thinking. And as we go through the teams and go through the players, you'll kind of get a gist of the direction we're going.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the AFC. We're going to do the AFC. And if we have time to tackle some NFC, whatever the case may be, however much time we have, we'll just keep reading off names and players and see where we end up.
Right.
I believe both of us have different players. For
Probably.
most of them, at least. I didn't get a chance to go through your entire list, but I think we have pretty much different players.
Yeah.
It's probably just, since we didn't have an outline for exactly how we wanted to pick these guys, it was very wide open.
Yeah.
Basically the whole team was open for picking. So we are going to start with the AFC. We're going to start with the AFC East, and we are going to start with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
You want to go first for this one?
Yeah, I'll go first for the Patriots. I mean, I feel like this is the obvious choice where people want to go, but I think we're going to be surprised by him. And that's quarterback Jared Stidham. I think what kind of quarterback is he going to be under Bill Belichick without Brady there anymore? And he is literally the one piece that is going to help this team be good or be bad.
Yeah, and that it might be the obvious choice, but it's pretty much the right choice.
Yeah.
If you want to think if the Patriots are going anywhere, it has to be good quarterback play. They lost very good quarterback play with Tom Brady. He wasn't perfect last year by any means, but it's hard to replace that kind of efficiency with Tom Brady. But I picked two people. I cheated on the first one because I couldn't really decide. But the second person is just kind of more for fun. But the real one was wide receiver N'Keal Harry. The Patriots need offensive weapons. They don't have an offense at this point. What they have Julian Edelman. Yeah. They have two running backs. They have Sony Michel and James White. James White is effective in like a third down pass catching scenario. Sony Michel really hasn't blown anyone away yet. So N'Keal Harry was their first round pick last year. He was supposed to be the guy that comes in here. It's like he's our tall jump ball guy who's supposed to be the wide receiver version of Gronk. Well, he gets hurt. He never really returns. He has no big games. He needs to be a second-year stud if this team's going to succeed because Julian Edelman's going to be triple covered this year because they don't have to worry about anybody else. They don't have. Julian Edelman's covered. Okay. N'Keal Harry has to step up. My second guy was free safety Kyle Duggar, who they drafted in the second round out of I believe a Division II school.
Yeah.
The highest draft pick ever for someone out of a Division II school. Some white kid. I just want to see what he does.
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on him, just curious if he gets to start. I'm just keeping an eye on him. That's the only reason I put him on there. Very interested.
All right.
Yeah. Next up is the Buffalo Bills, and
right.
I guess we'll go back and forth here. I'll start, you start.
Yeah.
As we say our game plan on the radio here, like live. Yeah, let's just announce what our plan is instead of planning it ahead of time. That's what we normally do.
There we go.
The Buffalo Bills. I picked tight end Dawson Knox, literally for one reason.
Okay.
If Dawson Knox does not perform at the tight end position and is not a stud, the Buffalo Bills do not have a tight end. Next up is Tyler Croft, who
Mm,
really never emerged as a
yeah.
successful tight end, and he also has an injury history. So
Hmm.
if Austin Knox doesn't show up, you don't have a tight end.
Yeah. No, I completely agree there. He was definitely a breakout for a tight end last year. So, but yeah. So I think for my pick for the Bills, I went with Devin Singletary because he's technically now in that all down running back play for the Bills. I mean, they drafted Zach Moss, but last year was Frank Gore kind of holding him back by the offense trying to get Gore reps, like let the Hall of Famer get his reps like when he wants, or was it just to give Singletary the rest because the game plan wasn't working, so you didn't want him grinding the ball a yard or two at a time. So I think that's someone to keep an eye on with the Bills, with their offense, is to see whether or not Singletary can kind of break out more and be that three down back that everyone wants him to be.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. That's what it felt at times. Like they just
Mhm.
forced the ball to Frank Gore for whatever godforsaken reason.
Right.
Yeah, 100% agree.
All right. So the Jets. See, this is an interesting one for me. I took defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. He's a young defensive lineman from Alabama. Um, they have a pretty young defense for the most part there, but you need to grow that talent on that side because you clearly have a talented quarterback, decently talented quarterback, in Sam Darnold. So you have to help him on the defensive side by helping them not be on the field 24/7 or off the field so that they can get back on the field and score points and win games. But so I think he's kind of a player that you need to watch on the defensive line. Like I feel like they didn't have a great rush last year, but let's see what he can do. I think he's year 3 now with the Jets.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thought there.
Yeah, he was going to be my second pick. He was my second option that I was going to put up there because he does need to step up. He was supposed to be that Aaron Donald kind of player, and we just haven't seen that out of him.
Mhm.
But my pick was left tackle, their new draftee, Mekhi Becton,
Oh,
the
okay.
absolute athletic freak
Mhm.
from Louisville. This guy's a giant. And this offense, yes, Sam Darnold is supposedly a talented quarterback. We haven't quite seen it yet, but
Right.
it's Le'Veon Bell, man. You
Mhm.
paid Le'Veon Bell the money. This kid needs to open up holes for Le'Veon Bell. This guy's a monster. He should be able to do it. You
Mhm.
hope he can do it because Le'Veon Bell he's not just carrying a football, he's also carrying money bags. So you, you need to get him producing to make that money worth it for sure. Uh, the Miami Dolphins, I kind of went obvious here just because there's a lot of players you can pick for the Dolphins because they brought in so many players.
Mhm.
But I'm keeping my eye on Tua. I want to see if he's healthy. I want to see if he gets in there to play. I just want to see him play. He's a fifth overall pick. He was a massive talking point for forever, it seems like at this point. Ever since he went into that championship game in Alabama and won in the second half, he's been a talking point. I
Mhm.
want to see if he can stay healthy. I want to see him play. I want to see if he can play at an NFL level.
All right.
Pretty
Yeah.
simple. It's just an interest factor more than anything.
Right. And I feel like the player I picked is kind of the not young or rookie wise, but the quarterback of the defense, which I went with Kyle Van Noy because they brought in so many players this offseason on the defense. You need that veteran presence there who is familiar with Brian Flores, who both came from New England. So you need to be able to lead that defense. It's kind of similar to what the Jets are at with the defense, that you have a young quarterback potentially coming in, you have a rebuilding offense, and you need to win games with a defense. You need a leader out there, and I'm thinking that's why he's going to be the guy you need to watch.
Yeah, that's a great point. 100%. Because that makes a lot of sense. That's great. Very good.
All right. So moving on to the AFC North. This one will give you a head scratcher. I went with kicker Justin Tucker as a guy that we should be watching, because is he going to continue to bail the Ravens out in tight games with his leg, or does his accuracy start to fail him? So, because what's his nickname? Legatron? I think that's what they call him.
Probably. It's a good nickname for him if it is.
It is a good nickname. But I think he's going to be the guy you need to watch, because if teams start to figure out Lamar Jackson and you're in 3rd and long at the 40-yard line, now you're getting those 50, 55-yard kicks. Does he still have it? So that was the player on the Ravens that I saw.
Yeah, I like that. That's because I did watch. I'll never forget it when I was in Seattle. I watched Justin Tucker beat the 49ers on that last second kick in the mud. So yeah, I like that. That's a good pick. I picked offensive guard DJ Fluker, former Seahawk, now with the Ravens, virtually the replacement for Marshall Yanda. Marshall Yanda was just an absolute stud when it came to being an offensive lineman over there. He played for years.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those guys you can put in there and you never have to worry about your offensive line ever again. At least in that position. DJ Fluker has a lot of injury history. So you're basically going from the most reliable person ever on your offensive line to probably one of the lesser reliable. So I'm just interested in seeing if he can stay healthy and keep Lamar Jackson, and if he can keep Lamar Jackson upright, also as keeping holes opening up for their running game.
Yeah.
And for the Steelers, I could have picked anyone on offense virtually. I could have picked Juju, James Conner, Ben. I could have picked anyone. And I really couldn't decide on one. So I went with linebacker Bud Dupree, like you kind of did with Kyle Van Noy. He's the leader of that defense. I'm done with the Steelers offense. I don't trust it. I just straight up don't. So it's all going to be on the Steelers defense.
All right.
And it's going to be led by Bud Dupree. He signed his franchise tag. And now it's going to be a matter of if he can produce for 2 years in a row and secure the bag next season.
Yeah, that's definitely a player to watch, because he is one of those franchise tag players, and I think he's an upcoming leader on that defense for sure. So for the Steelers, I didn't so much go player, but players, plural. As
the entire offense?
No, as in all the XFL players they signed. Because
you love going back to that.
So many XFL players, and I just love it. And how much talent did the Steelers really get for a steal from a potentially rival league that just happened to fall apart?
Yeah.
Like, they got so many players, probably for dirt cheap. All these players could turn out to studs. And granted, they're probably on like 1, maybe 2-year contracts, so like they're one and done. Like, but besides them just getting the chance, like, you could have a stud of a team there just from a whole nother league.
That would be interesting if pretty much all of them made the team and made a difference on the team. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. All right. So the Steelers, I think someone to watch would be their tight end Njoku, or David Njoku.
For the Browns.
Yeah, for the Browns. Yep. What did I say?
You said Steelers. That's okay.
Oh, my bad.
That's all right. I got you.
So moving to the Browns, I'm going to go with David Njoku, because they're bringing in Austin Hooper in the offseason. So now where does that depth chart land between Hooper and Njoku? Does Hooper now have the edge and he's the starting tight end when they run a 1 tight end set? Or is Njoku still the top tight end for that team? even because he's been there longer and he has the chemistry with Baker. So it'll be interesting to see kind of that balance between these two tight ends, to see kind of who takes the edge come the start of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. That'll be interesting to see if Baker can make a relationship with Hooper fast or not. That'll be fun.
Right.
I went with defense with their new corner, Grady Williams, and that's the issue the Browns have had for a while is in the secondary.
Mm.
Pieces moving in and out, people getting injured, just some kind of a mess back there. So, new guy coming in. Let's see if he can be an instant star. I want to see if he can lock down the side of the field or at least minimize the damage on one side of the field. That's really what I want to see him do. For the Bengals, I I kind of a lot. If you haven't seen a kind of a trend yet, I went with a lot of rookies just because I like rookies. I like watching them grow. Kind
Yeah.
of what I did with DK Metcalf. I just like watching rookies. But Cincinnati Bengals, I went with T. Higgins.
Ooh.
If AJ Green is there, he gets franchise tagged, whatever the case may be. I want T. Higgins to soak in every single piece of information from AJ Green and just see if he can be the next, but even more successful AJ Green in Cincinnati. Andy Dalton always had AJ Green. Now I want Joe Burrow to always have T. Higgins. That's what I want to see. I'll be watching that chemistry.
There you go. Yeah. I almost picked T. Higgins, but instead I went with Joe Mixon.
That was my second choice.
I went with Joe Mixon because looking at his stats from last year, he kind of had a down year with yardage, but he had a lot more attempts, so they were clearly trying to run the ball more. I'm interested to see the development of Burrow and T. Higgins to see whether or not that helps Mixon break out better. Because if you get that passing game going now, your running game can get going. And it's kind of obviously the other way too, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how Joe Mixon bounces back from last year with kind of a first-year head coach. Now he's got a year under his belt, and see what happens.
Yeah, that was it. Like I said, that was my second choice. That's a good one.
All right, and moving to the AFC South with the Houston Texans, I went with wide receiver Randall Cobb because he's going to be the guy to watch in that wide receiver group because he's probably the only one that can stay healthy with Hopkins now gone. So was he overpaid for the Texans with Bill O'Brien being the quote-unquote general manager and just running this team into the ground? Or
whatever he is.
And can he pull this wide receiver, his fellow wide receivers with him through the season for making this offense feasible and working, or are they all just going to fall apart? So I think he's definitely that receiver you want to watch on that team this year.
Yeah, I virtually I picked just the other side of that. You kind of already said it. I just picked all the wide receivers and virtually the starters like Cooks, Fuller, and Stills stay healthy. I just want to see if they stay healthy. That's it. Very simple. That's all I want. Because this team will fall apart without healthy wide receivers, obviously. That goes for any team, but
yeah,
we've seen them not be able to stay healthy. So just do it.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans, I picked Isaiah Wilson, tackle Isaiah Wilson. And the reason I picked him is kind of the same trend I had with the other team I picked for whatever the offensive lineman was, the Jets.
Yeah.
Well, or Marshall Yonder rather with DJ Fluker. Isaiah Wilson will be replacing Jack Conklin.
Right.
That's a big shoes to fill. So I'll be keeping an eye on Wilson just to see if he can, at bare minimum, pull off 70% of what Jack Conklin was able to pull off and just be sustainable in that position.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice. So I went with wide receiver A.J. Brown. This would be his second year with the Titans. He kind of had a little bit of a wishy-washy season. wasn't consistently putting up numbers, but I think that's what you get with Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. He's a very conservative quarterback, doesn't throw the ball a ton like we saw in the playoffs. Like, what was it, 84 yards in one game? Like, how do you only throw 84 yards?
Seems
So,
impossible.
right? So that I kind of want to see him become more of a wide receiver one with the Titans and kind of take that next step. And I think, I just think he's someone that on that team that I think he's ready for a breakout.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So the Indianapolis Colts, I went with offensive guard Quentin Nelson. So the reason I did that is, will he be able to keep Old Man Rivers upright along with the rest of his offensive linemen on the team? Because he's been in the league for a few years now. Came out of Notre Dame, one of the top kind of acknowledged or top graded draftee back when he was drafted. So it'll just be interesting to see kind of how he helps that offensive line continue to develop, continue to improve their pass protection, improve the run game, their run blocking. So I'm curious to see about how the O-line ends up.
Yeah, I love Quentin Nelson. He's a beast. I wish he was on the Seahawks. Love that guy. I picked corner Xavier Rhodes.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And Xavier Rhodes was a stud for one season, and then he just fell off the planet of the earth. He's absolutely terrible. He's behind on the depth chart on ESPN. He is behind Rock Yasin. That's his name. And Yasin is not a bad corner. He's okay over there, but the secondary for the Colts is pretty iffy. So I'm curious if Xavier can show that he's starter worthy again, kind of just get back to the top of the ranks and get back to a legitimate Pro Bowl level, because he went to the Pro Bowl last year, but definitely didn't deserve to go.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, I just put Minshew on there because I'll absolutely be watching Minshew 100%, but that's an easy one. All hail the Jockstrap King. And then I also picked defensive end Josh Allen, and I believe his second year, because he's going to be a big piece of that defense moving forward, because Yannick's gone. He's basically 1 foot out the door. So it's just going to be Josh Allen. No, he's going to have to do it virtually on his own, because I don't know who else is on that line. So
Right.
Can he become a solo pass rusher? Can he be a Von Miller for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Just do it all on his own.
Yeah. I mean, I went on the same side of the line with you. I went, instead of on the defensive line, I went with middle linebacker Joe Schobert, who is a new addition for the Jaguars on the defense. I want to see how Schobert and Miles Jack kind of work together in that linebacking core, because that'll be interesting to see. Because Miles Jack was he's been their linebacker for a while. Was a stud coming out of college. I'm just interested to see. I think Schobert's going to have a good year down there.
Yeah, I like Schobert. Good player. I'm glad he went there. Good player.
Yeah, definitely. I think as we look towards the AFC West, start out with the Kansas City Chiefs. I went with Damian Williams, and he kind of had a good breakout season last year. Probably should have been the Super Bowl MVP, but he's not a quarterback, so I think he's going to still continue to break out, because now all the other teams that the Chiefs play are still going to be focusing on Mahomes, and I think that allows Damian Williams to shine.
Yeah, I think he plays a lot harder too, because now he has to fend off the rookie out of LSU there.
Yep.
So he's got motivation. I picked the entire defensive line.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick a defensive lineman. I was like, which one do I want to pick? I was like, screw it. It's my podcast. I'll say whatever I want. The entire defensive line. Generate some freaking pass rush.
Yeah.
Just do something. I know that Chris Jones was able to do a little something, and Frank Clark in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl kind of saved him. But throughout an entire game, 4 quarters, play football. Get a pass rush going. Just some form of pass rush, so that defense isn't completely laughable going into next season. For the Denver Broncos, I picked kind of an easy one, but it's Drew Lock, the quarterback. It's simple as this. The Broncos gave you weapons. You have Sutton from last year. You have Judy, and you have Hamler, and now you also have Melvin Gordon behind you with Philip Lindsay. You have all the weapons in the world. Now go out there and prove that you can be the next franchise quarterback for the Broncos.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So you kind of mentioned my guy already. I went with Philip Lindsay because he had a breakout year last year, the year before that, and now that Melvin Gordon's on the team, it's interesting to see kind of similar to like how Cleveland is with tight ends, how the depth chart lines out with Melvin Gordon being there. I still think it's Lindsay's starting job to lose, but I think with Melvin Gordon being there right behind him, he's going to have that motivation and he's going to want to perform better. And I think he's just going to continue to improve this year.
Yeah. It's always motivational when you got a guy breathing down your neck.
Definitely. So next we have the Las Vegas Raiders. So I went with tight end. Huh?
Toilet Bowl Stadium.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I went with tight end Darren Waller. It seemed like he just exploded last year on that offense. But then you'll lose a couple pieces on the offense. The defense doesn't start holding up like it should. People start to figure out Waller. They double team him with the line. Derek Carr doesn't play as good. And I still think he has room to grow on the team, or even as an athlete. So I think he's definitely another one to see. Kind of broke out last year. I think he's going to break out again, but break out more this year.
Yeah, I like Waller. I'm going to keep an eye on him too. I kind of saw his name. Like, yeah, I might pick him, but I had to go with Henry Ruggs. I want to see, because the whole AFC West storyline is keeping up with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Building speed. So can Henry Ruggs be the Tyreek Hill for the Raiders? Can he just burn defenses, open up the field? Because if he can open up the field, then that opens up Darren Waller down below also. So I think a lot of this offense will obviously ride on the quarterback, but it also rides on Henry Ruggs producing in his rookie season. And then last but not least, the Los Angeles Chargers. I chose Austin Eckler.
All right.
Everybody loves Austin Eckler. Everyone drafts him in fantasy because he always has these weirdly amazing games. But now it's just him.
Yeah.
It's the Austin Eckler show. Melvin Gordon's gone. Eckler secured the bag. Mm-hmm. Let's see you do it. As the number one guy, let's see you do it.
Yeah, definitely. I almost picked him. So we almost would have had a matching player on.
Almost.
We almost did. But instead, I went with Tyrod Taylor. Okay. He's right now the projected starter for the team. You know what you're going to get out of him. He hasn't played really in the last starting games in the last couple of years since he's started for the Browns, but then, move on. So it's interesting to see the approach that Chargers offense takes with him under center after Phillip Rivers leaving. So, and I kind of like, it's Mr. Conservative as what I picture Tyrod Taylor as. And it's definitely time for him to step up. And I think there might be enough juice in that tank or enough fire underneath him that he's going to step up.
Yeah. And once again, guy breathing down his neck. Rookie's waiting to start. Just another scenario like that, too. And that's all the time we got, folks.
Yeah.
And that was our AFC sleeper surprise player, whatever you want to call the segment. And so next week we'll be doing our NFC teams. A lot of good ones over there. So make sure you tune in next Thursday if you want to listen to the uploaded version. If you want to listen on RTF Sports Network, tune in on Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. prime time, lunchtime if you're working. And make sure you keep up with everything. Share, subscribe, follow, and like anything on Off the Field related. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll see you around. Make sure you DM us, email us, however you want to get a hold of the show. We love to talk to our fans. And just like the Jacksonville Jaguars, and one of my picks for them for my surprise sleeper follow person.
All hail the Jockstrap King.